Actually, with the tattoo thing, really quickly, since it came up, I think a majority of men, I think for maybe even most men, maybe that's the same thing, prefer no tattoos.
That's probably true, but I don't care.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I think when it comes to tattoos on women, like it's good for overall, it's going to be neutral. Like there's maybe some men who have like some sort of fetish or kink, like that do like that thing or they like the aesthetic. Majority of men, though, it's either going to be completely neutral or it's going to be negative.
I think it depends on location too. So like if a woman has a butterfly tattoo or something stupid like that that's covered up that nobody else is ever seeing, like I don't think men care about that. But if they have a sleeve, right, it's instantly in the you're a trashy chick category almost instantly. If there's a sleeve or a neck tattoo or stuff like that, it's like you instantly go in that category.
Sure, I agree with you, Andrew. It certainly is like the degree to which they're tatted up. Like if it's a little heart on their inner wrist. I don't think most men are going to care. But again, I think even then, it's still neutral. It's going to be neutral to them. Like, I don't think they're like, oh, I'm more attracted to her because she has tattoos. Whereas I think there's far more women who are going to be more attracted to a guy because he has tattoos. Not all women. For some women it's neutral. For some women it's negative. But I think you'll see on dating apps, for example, women are like, oh, I like a guy who's tatted up. You had something on this?
I feel like everyone definitely is going to have their own opinion about this, but in my personal opinion, I see tattoos as art. People make those, they draw them, you put them on your body, and I feel like they represent you. I feel like a sleeve isn't trashy. Also, tattoos are expensive. I don't think it's trashy to have a full piece. In my personal opinion, I think it's awesome, but I also am biased. I do have a lot of tattoos. Everyone in my family has tattoos. Everyone that I hang out with has tattoos. So, did
you have something?
Yeah. I was gonna say, like in the adult film industry, a lot of us, like if our stuff didn't sell to men, like some of us, not everybody, but like some of the adult industry, we like, let's say you're a girl performer, you're trying to sell to men. So like I know girls that have tattoos, they get them removed, or they even tell us, the agents tell us not to get tattoos or we won't get work. And they also just tell us, not to get face piercings or we won't get work. And then, they basically kind of tell us what to do.
It's really interesting. I can tie something together for you real quick that might surprise you. So when women unalive themselves, when they do that, they almost never do it with anything regarding the face. So even if they use like a boom boom stick, right? I'm sorry, I have to use YouTube language for this. They'll actually do it in the chest, right? They'll actually, chest, things like this. They actually will almost rarely do they do anything with their face. And the reason is because they want the presentation, at their funeral to be a certain way. They want people to remember them a certain way. They want to be presented a certain way. And this actually correlates with body art the exact same way, right? Women generally don't want their faces tatted up. They don't want that because they think that there's an expression there that other people see that they don't like, right? There's something which is ingratiated there that they don't like. So I think it is true that men associate this, rightly so, because they would associate it with like way more outgoing, way more social, this and that. And if you're way more outgoing, way more social, generally they would associate that with promiscuity. And so I think that that's why that stereotype exists, and I think it's a rightful stereotype, to be honest with you.
Do you think that preferences have hindered modern dating? So, like, for example, I guess, like, writing someone off over what I would argue are these superficial attributes that don't necessarily contribute to their character always. Sometimes they do, I know, whatever. But don't always contribute to their character is causing people to not partner up as much. And things like that.
Look, I don't disagree with you if what you're getting at is like you can be a completely head-to-toe tattoo-covered woman and have a heart of gold and follow every form of Christian ethics ever and keep your chastity intact and have tons of virtue. I'm not disputing that there's some women who could do this. What I am disputing is that most women who would do this are not that. And so, because of that, we're, as pattern recognition machines, that's what human beings are. We generally associate behavior and patterns, right? That's what you were trained to do as a psychiatrist, right? You're literally diagnosing people based on behavioral patterns. That's the only way you can do it. So if that's the case, what you're doing is you're categorizing behavioral patterns in order to make a diagnosis, but everybody does this all day long. We categorize behavioral patterns in people, and if we see that most of the time women who have tattoos are skanks, right, then we generally tend to stay away from skanks, right? That is a stereotype, I agree, and you may think it's unfair, but we don't categorize it that way for no reason.
But do you think it's helpful to like immediately dismiss them? And I'll use this in the context of dating apps. So for example, on a dating app, if someone has a tattoo, you're like, okay, no, I'm not even going to engage. Whereas before, there was a lot more third spaces, or people just like met at work and stuff like that. Like, you might not know the girl you had a crush on had a tattoo on her back, but you liked her, so you went out with her, and then you find that out later, and it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, the thing is like, no, I do think it's actually helpful to dismiss immediately based on that's why the pattern's there. So the whole thing is you're recognizing patterns of behavior, you're dismissing people immediately based on those patterns. It's a way for you to keep yourself protected, right? Every human being on planet Earth does this. So I do think it is actually very helpful to be like, oh, that chick has a tribal face tattoo. Next, right? I think that's perfectly reasonable.
You have something?
I just don't agree. I don't really have anything to add on to it. I mean, we could say this about men as well. We're specifically talking about women here. I mean, but we have a tatted up Christian man, virgin, who's right here. I don't think that
Exactly.
I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. Congrats. I'm just saying that, like, I think you can't say specifically women. If you're like, oh, they're like this, tattoos are like this, and why is it not correlated with both?
I think we can, and here's how I can make the argument, and I think it actually makes sense. So I think the characteristic of a man being very outgoing, being very charismatic, means that he may be promiscuous, but it's not really a sure thing. It's not really something which would just categorize him as being instantly in the domain of he's going to sleep around. For one thing, they always have way less options than women, no matter what anyway. With women, though, the categorization, I think, is much easier. When women are more outgoing, they tend to be more promiscuous than when they're reserved. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, but if it's easier for women to sleep with someone, then wouldn't the men be the skanks because the men are there lined up, not the women? It's harder for a man to sleep with a woman. He can go up to a chick and ask her 50 times. But like as soon as am I making sense? I'm sorry. I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, I get what you're saying.
It
makes sense.
Sorry, I kind of lost it, but yeah, I got confused.
No, I think I understand.
Sorry.
I think I understand what you're saying. I'm just not really sure what that would have to do with us categorizing based on tattoos and face art and things like even like here, I'll give you an example. Even for men, if men have face tattoos, right? Generally, that's a red flag for other men to stay away from them. They're like,
don't trust them.
There's probably something wrong with you. You know, we're going to stay clear. You're in a gang or something like that. So even for other men, that would be a red flag. And generally speaking, they'd probably be right. They'd probably be like, okay, well, wait, guy who has tribal face tattoo, probably staying away from you is a good idea, and they would probably be correct.
Okay, question for Andrew. Should women give bald men a chance then if their preference is non-bald men?
Wait, hold on.
Well, I don't know what that would have to do with it.
That's how I date.
He can fix that. So like that's the same thing with the tattoos. Like that's not really that important of a trait, I guess.
Wait, hold on.
Well, what does the man being bald tell you about him, though? That's the distinct. So what we're talking about
I don't care about having children, but if you did, poor genetic.
What we're talking about is a pattern.
Being bald isn't always a choice.
A pattern which shows behavior. So women who are highly tatted up, they're probably outgoing. Right? They're probably way more open with people, and so likely they're more promiscuous. There's like a good likelihood that that's true. So this is an inference that men make, and I think generally it's true. It's not always true, but it's true enough. What does a man being bald tell you about his behavior, though? Nothing. It doesn't tell you anything.
It tells you that he has bad genes.
That's all the type of guy that hits on me. It tells you he's good at fishing.
Oh, calm down. I'm almost done.
Let me
All you're saying is that based on my preference for attraction, should I date men I'm not attracted to? And it's like, no, but I don't know what that has to do with anything we're talking about.
You're saying that tattoos show either like mental instability. So if I, as a woman, see a bald man, that tells me like bad genes. So like that's the correlation.
But hold on just a sec.
Because you can fix that
You're
with
literally
Rogaine.
proving our point, because your original argument was, whoa, it's really bad like how superficial men are, because we were talking about like how we're going to disqualify women based on choices that they make, but women constantly zero men out and will not date men based off of like things totally out of their control. You mentioned superficial. Oh, it's so superficial for a guy to not want to date a woman because she has tattoos. Women are like, if you think men are superficial, women take superficiality to the fucking extreme.
Yes, I understand.
Hold on. Because you guys won't date a guy who's shorter than you. You guys won't date a guy who's a certain height. You won't date a guy who's balding. So by you bringing up this whole like, oh, well, what about the balding thing? Are you trying to argue that women like have a preference towards bald men despite like full head of hair being more attractive? No, women prefer to date men who have a full head of hair. Women prefer to date men who are tall. Women prefer to date men who are above average in the bulge. Women disqualify. Women will 100% disqualify a great guy if he's not a certain height, if he doesn't have a full head of hair, if he's below average in the bulge, whatever it is. And all those things I listed are completely out of men's control, whereas the things we're talking about right now when it comes to tattoos, plastic surgery, that's choices y'all make.
I agree, and I think more women should give more men with those traits a chance.
They don't, though.
They don't, but they should.
Don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, who cares about should? Who cares about should?
Okay, but
they
why
don't.
Why don't they? Because most people
they're superficial. How about that?
Yes, most people are engaging on dating apps and just swiping.
Oh, you think you think height is only a dating app thing?
I think it depends on the age. Like if you're probably 18 to 24, yes.
Women's preference for tall men persists their entire life. What are you talking about?
But women over the age of 24, 25 that aren't typically on dating apps as much, you typically see them with a more wider range of looks, I guess. Or they're not as dismissive of explicit traits because you're more likely to meet someone in real life and things like that.
I'll give you this. So I think women, as they get older, do tend to deprioritize a little bit physical appearance in men. Other things start to become a bit more important. Status, money, personality. So yeah, sure, when women are younger, yeah, they're going to prioritize like, is this guy hot? Is this guy attractive?
But if you look at most people in like married or coupled relationships, the guy's not 6 foot and jacked and the woman doesn't look like Kim Kardashian. So that's what I'm saying is like...
That doesn't prevent a large amount of women from having like a really strong preference for tall men.
Yeah, I mean, they have that preference, but I think when they give those other men a chance, they're surprised.
Also, men on average are taller than women. So yeah, it's no surprise that, yeah, most relationships you're going to see like an average height woman, average height guy. Like,
I don't think most women explicitly care about 6 foot though. I think they'd be perfectly fine with like 5'8", 5'9". I mean, you say that, but if you really met, or even 5'7", whatever.
The men most cheat on me doesn't have any tattoo.
Hold on. Put your mic back where it is. Okay. One thing with the microphones, guys, we've already placed them where they need to be. Don't move them. Put it back. So you mentioned like, but on the dating apps. But studies show the majority of people meet on dating apps. They meet online. So like,
certain age
I don't do dating apps.
Even people in their late 20s and 30s, the majority of people are still in fact, I almost think that dating apps, like, it's super easy to meet people in college. Once you're out of college, 21, 22, then maybe you got work, but it's kind of frowned upon to like be dating people at work. I actually think there's a greater likelihood that people who are in their late 20s or 30s are going to have to rely on social media and dating apps because your social circle shrinks. You don't have college. You're not like in college. It's so easy to meet people.
Okay, do we have a fact checker? Because I'm curious.
Wait, so just to be clear, true. Wait, do you think? Wait.
According to recent studies, most people today meet their romantic partners online through dating apps and websites, making online dating the most prevalent way couples connect in the current era. The trend is particularly prominent among heterosexuals. Would you like to study links? This comes in from Pew Research, the findings from them. Yes. This also comes in on the Focus for Family. They did a study on this. There's a whole slew of studies about it, in fact, most of which are kept track of by the dating apps themselves because, well, they want to charge you money. So the best way to do that is to link you with people who you get dates from. So they keep very close tabs on that.
Okay, I actually would like to see that. Does it break it up by age ranges?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, whether or not, let's say even for a second it didn't break it up by age ranges, like just for the sake of it, it's still most people romantically meet online now. Most. Like there's no, that has to be the case, right? Because if you say I'm romantically involved and then you say where'd you meet him? Well, I met him online. I mean, it's a pretty easy thing to keep track of, right? That's not exactly hard data to gather.
I think there's a good demographic of people that have been in relationships for a longer period of time than dating apps have been popular or been around that can't really participate in that study because they're already in a relationship and have been for like 10 plus years.
Why couldn't they participate in the study? They would just say, no, I didn't meet my partner on a dating app.
Well, yeah, but they're pulling the sample from a dating app. So if you're not on the dating app.
No, they're not.
Oh,
They're
I
not
thought that's
pulling
what
it
you
from
said.
the dating app. No, not
Okay.
Pew. I mean, they do pull from dating apps. It is true that you can find some this data specifically from dating apps, but the studies aren't making a reference to dating app specifically.
Wait, Andrew, I mean, one question though, because the study you cited, it doesn't indicate that 100% of people are meeting on the dating apps. If you were pooling from the dating apps, wouldn't that number be 100%?
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
confused about at first.
Because you're
but
polling
If you're
people
pulling
who are
from only
on
the dating apps, then everybody who was on a dating app, or you would 100% be meeting on the dating app, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not. It is possible that
Yeah.
you could meet external the dating app while you were using the dating app. That's fair.
Yeah.
But the point being is that no, most people are meeting. In fact, even with friendships, most friendships are now developed online. So I mean, that's not really that shocking to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just figured I thought it was fair. If you ask for a source, that you get the source. I would look at Pew Research. I think that you would probably agree that they're fairly accurate with their sourcing. Not perfect, but fairly accurate.
I will look
Yeah.
at that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. Did you have something on the tattoo thing or?
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, can you remind me what your position was though on the whole tattoo thing and?
I feel like, I mean, it's art. I feel like tattoos don't define who you are at all. I mean, you can put them to represent you as your body. I mean, some people get tattoos, they have no meaning. It just depends who you are as a person, I feel like. You can be covered in tattoos and be the world's shittiest person, but you could also be covered in tattoos and be the world's nicest, caring person. I don't think it matters. If you like getting tattooed, you like having colors on your body, then you like it. Who cares? Is my personal view on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think tattoos are art. That's how I see them as well. But at the same time, I think that the tattoos that a woman has, I think Brian brought it up, placement, but then also what the tattoo is. I think it says a lot about them as a person. And I think in general, girls that have gotten a lot of tattoos, they tend to have a bit more of a complicated past.
Would you say that about men as well, or no?
Yes, I would say that about men as well. I think that guys that have a lot more tattoos tend to have a more complicated history.
I can't argue with that. So.
Exactly, yes. The man more cheat on me doesn't have any tattoo.
Wait, you're saying the guys that cheat on you don't have tattoos?
No tattoos. It's my ex, and he don't have even one. And he cheated on me 3 times in my face. And plus, say to me, "Oh yes, I do. I love you." And we're not meeting the app datings, so I don't know. I think one of the one of the real points about now in the Katie we are is for real. Try everyone to work out the traumatizers. Me, the first one.
Yeah, but this is the old argument where you say, look, in general, women like taller men. You go, I don't like taller men. It's like, what is it? It's a non sequitur. It doesn't mean anything. Like, just because you have a certain preference doesn't mean that preference meets up with the preferences of most women. It just doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? And for some reason, some odd reason, often when you're talking generalities with women and you say things like women like taller men, they'll say, I don't like taller men, as though that means anything. That doesn't mean anything, you know what I mean? It's like if I said to you, most women prefer men who have blue eyes, and you're like, but I like men with brown eyes. That doesn't tell us anything. That's like, that goes nowhere. It's a total non sequitur. Just means nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't actually mean anything. It doesn't actually engage with what we're talking about.
Do you guys have preferences in terms of height of men? I know you said that you wouldn't date a guy if he was shorter than 6 foot, right?
Yeah, because I'm 5'8.8". So
okay,
I'm
so
like
you wouldn't date someone that's 5'9"?
No, absolutely not. And also, I feel like shorter guys tend to have like a smaller, like.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Like,
Honestly,
I don't know how to
I was
say
trying
that.
to give you the word.
Yeah, they usually, but like
experience-
tall men usually are packing.
Honestly, from my experience, I have not had the best experience with taller men. The shorter men I've been with have been
shorter
bigger.
men are so sweet. They're so
No,
sweet.
but for me personally, I don't know if I'm just like a rare.
I think she's
But
referring
I've
to
dated
the
shorter
downstairs.
men who have had bigger dicks. Sorry. Than the taller men that I've been with have been smaller.
See, I've only physically been with one guy, but like I've seen, and like I know like heights, like matching, like aligning,
That's what I thought.
And I
at
know like
first, and then-
statistically, taller guys are packing. So like, if I were to like date, I would be like,
Okay.
too short. Like I would swipe
Would
if I was like in a
you?
Jubilee
Well,
video.
I'm 5 foot, so if a guy isn't taller than me, that's kind of weird in general. Like if anyone is shorter than me, you're short, So I'd be fine with someone that's taller than me.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
I'm also 5 foot, so I don't think I'd go for anyone shorter than me. But also, if you're hot, you're hot. I don't have preference. You could be tall. You could be like 6'5", but you could also be like 5'5". I don't care as long as you're a little bit taller than me. If you're hot, you're hot. That's my kind of take on it.
Gotcha. Okay. You?
Me?
Do you have a preference?
I mean, I'm 5'1". I can't date anyone shorter than me.
And the 5 foot and below
If it
guys
goes
are
below
out of
that,
luck
I'm like,
But you have to be
so
like medically like has to be something medically wrong if you're like shorter than us.
I feel like you'd look like a
2
child.
inches shorter. Like you have to be like an actual midget.
You're shorter than
medically
Yeah.
to be shorter like than me. So it's like
They're
I
not
don't know.
facing you. They
You guys
look
all
like
But I'm
could've
not
got,
gonna
like,
lie,
free college.
5'9" is kind of like my lowest. Yeah, because I mean, I don't know.
You?
I wish to say this in Spanish, but I have to say in English. I mean, I don't know. My preference is really higher about that. I like it tall guys because I am really short. They're like 5'1", so.
Okay.
I mean,
that's
I've
cool.
dated guys shorter
That's
than
cool.
me, so.
Wait, here, I'll just, on the tattoo thing, and then we'll move it on.
Tattoos.
So I think the big thing, again, it depends like how many tattoos, but a lot of men are going to look at that. Men are attracted to purity in women.
Yes, I feel like men are attracted to innocence.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. I mean, with what I do for work, I haven't had any really bad like negative connotations about me having tattoos. So personally, it hasn't really affected me.
Well, just to be clear, if a woman has tattoos, a lot of tattoos even, I don't think it's going to preclude her from getting a boyfriend or getting sexual attention or romantic attention from men, even a lot of men.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that there's a subset of men, I don't know if it's a majority, but there are men who are not going to want to date you or other women who have a lot of tattoos because of their tattoos.
Yeah.
You probably don't care.
I mean, everyone
but
has
we're
their
just-
preference.
Sure, but we're just pointing out the reality that, hey, look, for a lot of men, a woman who has a lot of tattoos could be a deal breaker for him. He could view it as a negative.
I wouldn't say it's a lot of men, but I would definitely say there is some.
Well, I think men there's some degree of toleration that's occurring.
Okay.
There's some degree of like tolerating there's some degree of tolerating that men are doing. But I think realistically, like majority of men, when it comes to tattoos, it's going to be neutral and then negative. I think very few men are going to be like, it's a positive. You agree?
Can I say something too?
Yeah,
No, I'm saying
ahead
that I
first.
actually prefer
Go
a
ahead.
woman
Go
with
ahead.
I want to say something. So, like, a lot of like most of my friends are guys, like all of them are, and they like girls best when they're just wearing like sweatpants and t-shirts and no makeup and like messy hair. And then but like us girls, we like to like look nice and proper and maybe it's just a gender thing. Like maybe girls think that we have to have these kind of looks and these kind of insecurity and things because that's what we're told by something that's trying to sell us something. Maybe they're trying to make money off of whatever sort of look they want to give us, and they're advertising something. So maybe this Kim Kardashian's advertising a big butt to maybe sponsor some of this injection stuff. Like, what if that's kind of what's going on? I don't know. It's just like we're told about what to believe, so we should just believe what we want to believe, what we know is true.
Well, isn't that what was happening with you? Because you did say you worked in the porn industry.
I work in the industry right
But
now.
you get
I was just at
told-
AVN yesterday.
Yes, but you get told what to do. You can't have tattoos.
We don't get told what to do. So you can decide what you want to do. It's always your choice.
Okay, but they recommend. Because earlier you were talking
They say
about how
that
they
you, but I know a lot of girls that have tattoos and they get work. But it's just, there's a bias in every industry.
Wait, are you saying that there's like in your industry there's a preference for no or minimal tattoos?
Yeah,
like
a
it's
preference.
Easier, it's
yeah.
easier for women who are minimally or not tattooed to get work. That's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
generally,
Okay.
yeah.
Sure. We have a chat here from Rebecca Bridgman. Thank you for the super chat, Rebecca.